Welcome back to Youth Elect TT. Now I'm standing on very sacred grounds. This is the very place that Dr. Eric Williams lectured to the masses about the importance of sovereignty, which later led to our nation's independence. This is the University of Woodford Square. And just like Dr. Williams, all nominees are ready for change. Let's take you back to the auditions.
Welcome back to Youth Elect TT.
Today I have come to you with a solution to one of the most persistent problems concerning youth in our society today, the issue of youth and crime. Most governments, both past and present, have tried to deal with the issue, but in my opinion, they have been unsuccessful thus far. To me, most governments have tried to implement sporting activities in which they pay stipends to the youths enrolled in those programs, but to me that is masking the issue, and in order for us to deal with youth and crime, we need to get to the core of the issue. My proposal to solve the issue of youth and crime is to create a national rehabilitation program in which we rehabilitate young persons who we deem vulnerable to commit criminal activities.
What would you say this leader should embody? What are some of the qualities?
The qualities that the first youth prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago should embody should be someone who is very humble, someone who is down to it, because you know, to relate to youth you have to be very down to it, to talk to youth, and they should be very ambitious. They should have big plans.
Your national rehabilitation program, that is for offenders. You've committed a crime. How does it?
It can apply for offenders also, but
First-time offenders.
for first-time offenders, but another part of it is like teachers who will probably like see a youth at school displaying tendencies that could lead to high-risk youth.
Right,
And,
so it's not generally that you've already committed a crime.
First-time offenders, but persons who may be deemed susceptible to committing crimes. So like youth. So like teachers and community leaders could identify these youths and recommend them to the rehabilitation program. It was an honor to be in front of Ms. Michaela Pandey, Mr. Martin Daly, and Ms. Paige Leon. It was an honor.
Who was hardest on you?
The hardest on me, to be honest, no one. All three was equally easy.
I stand before you asking for your support to be TNT's first youth prime minister. A youth prime minister, to me, is not only someone to advocate the needs and issues of the youth, but also someone to be a powerful change agent and to be a positive role model to help educate and sensitize the youth of the social programs we have in existence today.
If the profit culture of Trinidad and Tobago was changed, that people would be more comfortable in terms of how they spend and what they spend it on, and their ability to progress and to grow wealth would be increased. Do you agree with that statement?
Agree, definitely, because the standard of living is already high or rising, and with the persons with the greed trying to profit more, it would affect that, and it would create a class system.
The standard of living amongst who is rising?
All Trinidadians
Really?
and Tobagonians, yes.
Oh, I thought it. Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, with the oil prices dropping, the rates of loans and everything has increased.
But you would accept that as a candidate for youth prime minister, there would be a large segment of the population that is disadvantaged, to whom you would have to sell yourself as being able to advance their position. How would you go about doing that?
Well, if you're going to use the slant of in finance, it'll be proper financial planning from young. So if we could include this into the curriculum in secondary school or even primary school to expose young persons how a mortgage works, how a loan works, and how credit ratings works, I think it will help them in the long run.
What's it before the panel today?
It was actually really nice. I like the fact that they tried to make you comfortable with yourself. So when up there, they're allowed to express yourself and go out the full man.
We are but one decision away from a more diverse economy, a more thoughtful education system, and the vibrant democracy that this country so desperately needs. But that one decision is, what are we as young people prepared to do to take back our nation? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the turning point. The point where we turn to face our future instead of going along the same dead-end path that we've been on. A vote for Take Back TT is a vote for the vibrancy, connectedness, and ingenuity that we as young people can desperately provide to this current nation.
Brendan, you speak a lot about the power of the youth vote.
Yes.
I think that's going to be very important in the upcoming general election. So I would like to hear your views to expand a little bit more on what you mean by that, because you raise it quite often in your bio, and it seems to be something that's important.
It is important to me, and it's important to me because what's really interesting is, like, my own personal story to how I got here, is that everyone, friends and family, kind of jokingly say you'd make a fantastic politician, and it's a joke between all of us because that's both a compliment and an insult at the exact same time, and that speaks to me about us towards a sort of disenchantment towards the political system that a lot of elder people do have, but a lot of young people now are having as well.
Why do you think so?
I think it's because we have an image of politics and politicians that is extremely, extremely negative, and that we've had and built, unfortunately, over the course of a decade or more. That hasn't really changed. It's kind of changed now. This is the first time that we've seen this sort of coalition in our democracy, which is really, really empowering for some, but it's also very scary for others in the sense that these aren't new and fresh faces that we've seen really, but a conglomerate of the old guard to some people.
All right, so Mr. Daly, just touching base with you as to the candidates you've seen so far. What is some of the feedback?
The feedback is the standard is extremely high. If we had a headache yesterday trying to choose, we have a migraine today trying to choose more. The standard is extremely high, and really it's going to be very difficult to boil it down to the requisite number. In fact, we are quite likely to make recommendations for a greater number because the standard has been simply so high that it would be cruel to leave out some of the people who might make a top 10 as opposed to a top 6.
Well, friends, things are heating up. After the break, we'll bring you more nominees on the road to becoming the Youth Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.